not stuck here. The cops won't bother me. What we have to do is remove this plastic here, because we need to make sure that we reach this bracket. So what we have here is the damage. If you look at the windscreen, this kind of moves around when you're moving, just doing that, because this piece here is broken. You can see it broke off, and this kind of stabilizes the bracket here for the windscreen. So what I'm going to do is I could order a new piece, but I think I'm going to see if I can just repair it. And in order to repair it, you have to remove this. And here we go. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to be fixing it, but we'll give some epoxy a try, or maybe even welding it. So one of the things we're going to have to do is remove the windscreen. That one's stripped. So the owner stripped that one. Screw. I don't know how. Make sure that you don't lose the washers that are coming out with these bolts. There we go. And so this bracket here, we're going to remove it. And it's a 10 millimeter. And now we're just going to slide this out. And there we go. Right here, if you can tell, this is the bracket we need to remove. But there is a spring in there attaching. If I push it down, I could actually kind of bring it out like this, but it goes into the spring like this. So it's kind of curved up. And I think there's only really one way of putting it, so I wouldn't be too worried. Now, you can see here, the part that broke off is this piece. The other piece goes on like this. It's kind of a fragile piece, but if you want your windscreen to be very stable, you're going to need to have that. I have the pieces, and I am just going to try and use this JB Weld to do it. There we go, it is there. And I'm going to put just a little tad bit on here. This stuff kind of smells too, so I'm just going to put just a little bit more. As you guys can tell, it is drying up, and I'm going to leave this for a couple more minutes. I got the part, and you can see I welded it up, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but it seems to be holding. But I don't know if it's actually going to be working. I'm going to go ahead and install it, and hopefully it's going to hold for now. Well, bad news, guys. As soon as I put it on here, it broke. So JB Weld will not work for this system. And not only that, but I cannot find the other piece that is dropped here somewhere. So I think the only option is either make a new one, or re-weld this, or order a new part. But the problem is this part is not available yet, so it's one of these things that because it's such an old bike, it needs little parts everywhere. That's one thing I don't like about complex bikes. It's like having the electric windscreen is nice, but all of these little things that could break and eventually could, would break. So this might be a little bit hard to see, guys, but what I ended up doing is getting a very thin piece of steel, and I kind of cut it and bend it, and now it's on there. I should be able to turn on the bike, and you should be able to see it raise up and lower down. So it's kind of an interesting problem. The only issue that I have is right here I don't have enough spacers to fit in there, but this is surprisingly a very easy fix if you don't mind doing some drilling. So as you can see, here's the bracket. It's a very thin piece of almost like aluminum, sort of metal, very thin, but it's steel and it's flexible. So when I turn on the windscreen, you should see it activate. Now let's put it down. So the only thing that this bracket does, it stabilizes lateral movement, and I think this should actually be good enough. So what I'm going to be doing now is putting on the new windscreen.